I've never heard anything more believable than this moment right here. It took Robin 148 episodes to fully become a Straw Hat Pirate. And an oddly important detail, no new members joined while Robin was transforming. But immediately after Robin had her moment, 2 new members popped in. This record amount of time and consideration given to her this arc was unique to Nico Robin. Chopper didn't get this, Nami didn't get this, Usopp didn't even get this. But what is it about Robin that makes her so special? Why spend so much time on this Straw Hat specifically? And what is it that Robin represents? Before this part in the story, something about Nico Robin just felt off to me. Robin's been code switching ever since we first met her. And since she's forced herself onto the Going Merry to become the 7th Straw Hat Pirate, I still saw her as Miss All Sunday. Still the coolest alias I've ever heard, by the way. Let's not get that confused. But then I thought to myself, it is very unlike Oda to add to the Straw Hats without a deep character arc and or an overall goal revelation. And her seclusion in Skypiea only made my skepticism even worse. She was unproven. She wasn't unknown. As a matter of fact, ironically enough, the only thing she proved was that she was an unknown. It was so hard for me to believe any word that comes out of her mouth. That was until she said this.
I want to live! Take me with you! Take me away from here!
It all clicked for me. This was Robin's breaking point, rock bottom, broken down to be built up again. And a lifetime of living in fear takes time to undo. And even with knowing that, her just saying she wants to live is only just the beginning. Robin was never supposed to be a Straw Hat Pirate. Robin rejected even the thought of deserving to live. But after watching Water 7 and Enies Lobby, it's clear to me that it does not matter what we thought of Robin before this scene. From now on, this is a whole new individual being rebuilt before our very eyes. And before your very eyes, welcome back to the Bread Show, a place where we give our animated and gaming opinions while also doing a little bit of animated and gaming ourselves. If you are just now seeing this, a few months ago, I took on the challenge of watching all of One Piece. Last week, we did the Water 7 Usopp video, and this week, Enies Lobby is all about Robin, who she was and who she became. We're now up to 8 Straw Hats in 15 manga volumes. This is getting ridiculous now. Please like the video, it really helps the channel out a lot, and I like reading all the different comments about the different perspectives about this point in the show. I can see a lot of y'all are not subscribed, but hopefully by the end of this video, I can convince y'all to subscribe to the Bread Show, especially if you're a One Piece fan, because I got a lot more One Piece coming. Next week is Thriller Bark. Let's get straight back into this. And now it's time for the regularly scheduled 30-second summary to catch people up, but then also to remind people, because this is like 20 years old now. Robin forced herself onto the Going Merry after the Alabasta arc. She went to and survived Skypiea with the rest of the Straw Hats. But the moment they continue their journey on to Water 7, she basically meets some old friends that she wasn't too excited to see. They kind of kidnap and extort her to do their bidding, and in return she uses herself as a living sacrifice for the Straw Hats, have a pretty massive bounty on their heads. Of course, the Straw Hats weren't feeling that, and they go to hell and back to get her back, ex-Straw Hats and Straw Hats alike. I want to point out how jolting this whole experience is for her from her perspective, just so that we can come from a place of understanding of her stubbornness. And the best way I thought to do that was to compare her to another stubborn character who was seen in a very positive light, to help remove any biases when we talk about Nico Robin. Her story oddly reminded me of Rock Lee. At first I was thinking Naruto, but then Rock Lee fits so much better. Both of them were outcasted and abandoned for things that they could not control, and they both relied on unrelated like legal guardians to guide them through life. Both Robin and Rock Lee overcame their biggest obstacles of doubting their self-worth with the power of resilience, driving them to learn and train and make themselves better. And both of them are thematically used in each of their stories to represent that the fate from your circumstances don't define you, but your will to overcome it does. Even being a Straw Hat Pirate itself is so unnatural to Robin, as opposed to being a Baroque Works employee. Being a Straw Hat Pirate is even dangerous for Robin, we've seen. The old Robin had to stay useful or risk being discarded, left behind, gone, out of there. And now being a Straw Hat People genuinely care about her without exploiting her for her gifts. Now her presence is being really depended on. She can't even let herself down because that brings the collective unit down also. Very stark contrast to how she's been living her life up to this point. She was welcomed into the Straw Hats without a condition needing to be met, even though she did kind of force herself into the Straw Hats. And then on the reverse side of all of that, she is actually contributing, giving out part of herself to a bigger collective group. She is outwardly helping people without bargaining anything back, is what I'm trying to say. She had to unlearn all of her survival instincts, which took hundreds of episodes in all actuality. And finally, accepting the love of the group meant also risking the fear of losing the group or being their downfall. Being a Straw Hat was so unnatural to her because she had to accept and thrive in the same principles that slowed her down in her past life. That past life that really wasn't all that far in the past for her. Forming bonds, loving and depending on people, you know, stuff like that. So we can't really blame her for taking too long. And Oda forced us to pay attention to this journey. It was not rushed at all. We did not have to divide our attention to another group member who was also joining. It never took this long to accept any of the previous 6 members. And then immediately after Robin has her moments, 2 group members are added back to back. And because Robin's story took so long, the 2 members coming back to back is almost like rushed on us, like, whoa, what's happening? But what makes Robin so unique is that Robin's backstory was the only one that was so lonely prior to joining the Straw Hats. Everybody really had a group of people that they were leaving behind or that they had. The other closest pirate to her in the loneliness category, I'd say, was Usopp. Even Zoro had people that he had from his past. But Usopp was also pretty lonely, and we see the parallel stories being juxtaposed to each other. Fun fact, I learned this and shared this in the making of the last video. It took the same amount of episodes for Robin and Usopp to come back to the group after leaving. 87 episodes each. I mean, come on now, y'all. This gotta be purposeful. And let me explain why. Usopp's self-doubt was generated internally, as we discussed last week. Robin's self-doubt was spurred on by the world and the people around her that was in her head. Now, in my mind, the way I put this together, Oda is telling us that whether self-doubt starts internally or externally, they're both equally as dangerous and self-destructive. The world government, Aokiji, Lucci, and the rest of CP9, Crocodile, and everyone in her past life that we don't know about yet, all fed her lies of being a cancer to everyone around her. And the truly sad part is that she believed it wholeheartedly, and it took legitimate pleading to get her to think otherwise. All that happening while her support system, her mom, the rest of Ohara, the one giant she was playing with on the shore, play loyal to no role in actually supporting her. And now she sees that her very existence is almost killing the people that she actually does care about. So seeing it through that lens, I can see why she was so willing to sacrifice herself and why she believed she needed to do that. When previously, when it was first introduced to me, it just seemed ridiculous. Like, how did you come to that conclusion? But after thinking, I kind of saw how she came to that conclusion. But at the end of the day, one of the most free-thinking characters in all of shonen anime showed her that it didn't matter what everybody else thinks of you. If there is a will, then there is a way. And he said it so many times, forced it on her so many times, that she started to believe it herself. And now, she's the Straw Hat's wallflower. I was a huge Dragon Ball Z fan growing up. And when I was older, I found the Dragon Ball Z Kai English dub version of the show. The animation of Dragon Ball and One Piece were handled by Funimation. I don't know exactly how that works with Toei Animation and Funimation. I'm not exactly clear on that, but I say that to say that a lot of the voice actors from Dragon Ball are very familiar to me in One Piece. Luffy, I automatically recognize as Kid Gohan. Sanji, I definitely heard Trunks. From the moment opening his mouth, I knew Zoro was Piccolo, and Usopp was obviously Krillin. I usually watch subs when I'm watching animes like Jujutsu Kaisen or Solo Leveling, but because One Piece has so much volume, it just makes it easier to hear and take it in faster when I do the English dub version. And it also helps that the Funimation, Toei Animation voice actors are some of the best in the game. But one voice in particular seemed very unfamiliar to me in a crowd full of childhood heroes. Nico Robin, voiced by Stephanie Young. who also does not voice any Dragon Ball animation characters. Because Robin's voice was the most unfamiliar out of the group, I found myself listening closer to her and hanging on every word, trying to draw connections. And this became so apparent to me when I heard the "I want to live" scene. Her voice carried so well. I could hear the desperation in Robin's voice, in Stephanie Young's voice. So I wanted to use just a little corner of the video on my little corner of the internet to shout out the voice actor Stephanie Young. You might know her as Toa in the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot video game, Connie's mother in Attack on Titan, Olivia Armstrong in Fullmetal Alchemist, but her performance played a huge role in one of the best One Piece scenes I've seen so far. Nico Robin's story is amazing, and it's even more amazing that it runs parallel to Usopp's story, who is just the same story on a different side of the coin. But outside of Robin and Usopp, there was a lot of amazing things that happened this arc, and I'm gonna mention them quickly. Zoro brings real validity to the Straw Hats, and I'm developing like a real feeling of respect for his decisions. Forcing the Straw Hats to force Usopp to say sorry, his dying moments on Lowell Garden, and standing by his captain in the Jaya arc before Skypiea. Another point, Luffy must have the Sharingan the way he learned second gear. That was crazy to me. Before even watching One Piece, I knew he learned, Gear 5 or whatever. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew he learned Gear 5. The way he just revealed Gear 2 and then immediately after that, Gear 3, I was like, and the way he explained it, I thought it was gonna be some training scene. He learned a whole bunch of, no, he's like smarter than I thought he was. Or he has the Sharingan. He kind of learned it like off screen, and he doesn't spend a lot of time off screen. But following that, Luffy versus Bueno was peak. And also, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I really like Spandam as a villain. He was way out of his depths, but I still didn't know if he was gonna be bluffing about using the Buster Call. It seemed really extreme to me. And sometimes after you watch a show like Scooby-Doo or something, or once you watch a lot of these shows, you kind of get the vibe and the cycles that go on. No matter the ups and downs in Scooby-Doo, you know that Scooby-Doo figures out the case at the end of the day. No matter the ups and downs of Phineas and Ferb episode, you know that the whole contraption is gonna go away and no one's gonna see it at the end of the day. When Spandam was threatening to use the Buster Call to call all the Marines and all this other stuff, I really didn't know if he was gonna use it or not, especially after seeing the flashbacks of what happened to Nico Robin's Buster Call. It just seemed really extreme to me, and the fact that he ended up using it was a big surprise to me. And then I keep saying this over and over and over again about this show, but I have to keep harping on it. One amazing thing I'm learning about One Piece is that it legitimately takes hundreds of episodes for things to wrap around and come full circle. And even when you think things have wrapped around and came full circle, they're not full circle yet, which makes me excited to watch hundreds, legitimately hundreds of more episodes going forward. And that is unique to One Piece because it's so long. If you are watching this long, I guarantee you will like all of my other videos. Please like the video. Hopefully, by the end of this video, I convince you to subscribe to the channel. I got a lot of things going on. Next week is a Thriller Bark video. I am working on that also right now. And then after Thriller Bark, there'll be a little buffer video because I'm working on watching the Summit War right now, which is going to be one huge video. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed your time on The Bread Show. And if you want to see how I reacted to all the other One Piece arcs, those videos are up on the channel right now. Check out the streams. I'll be streaming on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. It'll be me and Dex, me and the guys, sometimes solo me, and a lot of the days in between. Thank you all for watching this long. Please consider subscribing. Please consider liking the video and leaving a comment. It really helps the channel out a lot. Spread love, give inspiration in all you do. Praying for God's blessings on y'all. Hopefully y'all have a great day. Spread positivity. Think about somebody else today. And peace out.
Welcome to the Crash Show. Take 2.